Hey there, you're listening to Your Life is Awesome, brought to you by Enjoy Toys, featuring true life stories about sex told by audience members at Smut Slams around the world. Smut Slam is a growing network of dirty storytelling shows founded in 2011 by me, Cameron Moore. We do our best to keep Smut Slam safe, but safe doesn't mean G-rated. Some of these stories are explicit as fuck. If you're not into that, now is a good time to get out. Otherwise, enjoy the show.
Your life is awesome! Your life is awesome!
Hey there, and welcome to Your Life is Awesome, a podcast featuring stories from Smut Slam, my sex-positive community storytelling show that happens all over the world. My name is Cameron Moore. I'm the host at a lot of European Smut Slams. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's easy for me to forget that there's a lot of new people who don't know what's going on with Smut Slam and how these stories come to this podcast. So what you need to know, first of all, is that it's purely signed up at the door. People just walk in, they decide whether or not they want to tell a story at a Smut Slam, and then they tell it. That's all it is. It's very simple. What's not so simple is making sure that we make a space that is both exciting and reassuring, safe and sexy, and silly. We create a safer space at our shows by doing a whole code of conduct approach that everyone agrees on when they walk in the door before they tell their story. I read it out loud. All of our hosts read the code of conduct out loud at the top of every show. But we also have it at smutslam.com if you're curious. Look up smutslam.com and go check out our code of conduct if you want to know how we get to be so awesome. That's part of it. This episode that you're going to be listening to was recorded in Barcelona in November of 2023. That was our first time there in Barcelona. We sold out. Of course we did. As with all first slams in any given location, though, we set the theme of firsts. We find that it gives a really easy access point for most people because, frankly, if you have a sex life or you're trying to have one, you've got some firsts to share. Barcelona did not disappoint. Like I said, we sold out. We were packed to the rafters, and people really came forward strong to share some of their firsts. And honestly, firsts are really fun too, because it can be what people think of as first sex, which often happens around teenage times for a lot of people, but it can be something that you just experienced for the first time last week. It's truly an amazing array of possibilities in the concept of firsts. Barcelona, like I said, came out strong, and we have some amazing stories to share with you this episode. In between audience members telling their own stories, I went ahead and dipped into the fuck bucket. And fuck bucket is strictly any vessel, doesn't have to be an actual bucket, that can hold anonymous questions or confessions from the audience. That way, audience members who are maybe too shy to go up to the microphone for themselves, they get to put something in that they get to hear me interpret for them. So they get to help make the show like everybody else. It's often entertaining. I mean, it's always entertaining. It's often educational. It's a real wild ride, and I just want you to strap in for this because it does get a little sizzling there in that hot space in Barcelona. This was at the Teatro Metamorphosis in Barcelona. Get on in there, and I will see you on the other side.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like sometimes the fuck bucket is an oracle. Sometimes sub-themes come out, and I see we're going to have never mind. Okay. The first time I try to assign meaning to these, there's no meaning. It's just random selection. The first time I had sex with a guy from my work, we had anal sex, and there was a weird smell. We stopped. I shat on his dick. Then we had a cigarette, and I cried about it. It's traumatic, right? Like sympathy, all right? I'm your shit sister up here. This is someone wanting more material from me when I'm already up here telling you about my first butt sex. Someone's being a greedy bitch.
So this is happening. Gay black Muslim from Washington, D.C. Currently living in Morocco and on holiday here until tomorrow. So here we go. How to start this story. Divorced. 1 year, divorced. Gay. All of my life have identified as a top. Mostly because that's all I knew. 45 years old. I grew up in the world of tops and bottoms. That was it. After the divorce, I spent about 11 months not having sex. Not by choice. I had a thyroid issue. I'd gained 45 pounds. Confidence was low. Sex drive was low. Moved to Morocco. Lost weight. Started feeling sexy again. Started feeling horny again. So this is the story of me being tied up for the first time ever. So I met this guy named Simu, who's a bartender at this very sexy bar in Morocco. Kind of looks like Sideshow Bob, but in a sexy way, if that makes sense. And as the story progresses, he actually gets sexier. It could have been the combination of red wine and vodka. Possible. So we go back to Simu's place, and we start getting really fucking trashed. He identifies as straight, which is typically a hot thing for me. And I dive right into like the sexiest conversation I could think of. My depression, my anxiety, suicidal ideation. And I'm just oblivious to the fact that this guy's into me. Like, I had no idea. Typically, I'm really good at that, like picking up that vibe. Missed it. Slowly, his buttons are like down to his belly button. And I was like, Simu, was your shirt broke? Like, he's like, no, man. He's got this sexy Moroccan accent. He's like, I wanted to show you my tattoo. So he shows me his tattoo. I was like, I got fucking tattoos. So now we're shirtless on the patio, fucking wasted. And now I get it. I was like, oh, something's going to happen here. Oh, I probably should not have gotten so fucked up because I'm super self-conscious about erectile dysfunction or not being able to perform. And here we are. So lo and behold, he makes the first move. We start kissing, making out. Shit's getting hot and heavy. Not so much Sideshow Bob anymore. Like, this guy's like glistening pecs. The hair's wet. It's like, holy fuck. This guy's like super hot. So we get to the room, grabs 2 belts, asks me to tie his hands behind his back. I was like, yo, I'm actually not into this. I don't think. He's like, Rashid, you tell me about your depression. You tell me about your anxiety. Tie me up. Fucking tied his ass up. Now he's tied up. He's like, I want you to take this other belt. And I want you to strike me. It's like, what? Strike me as hard as you can. I was like, yo, see what? He goes, fucking untie me. If you're not going to participate, untie me. So, no, wait. I'm not finished yet, so wait, I'll try again. So I hit him again, and we get to 5 strikes, and every time he's telling me harder, and I've never done this, like anything like this. And finally, like, I'm soaking wet with sweat, and I literally have tears in my eyes because I can see the whelps on his back. And I'm like, this isn't fun to me anymore. I don't know how to be turned on by this. I'm fucking flaccid, and you're about to bleed. Like, how does this work? And he turns around, and we're dick to dick and chest to chest, and he's like, you did not want to hurt me, right? I said, no, I didn't want to hurt you. He goes, but were you in control? I said, yeah, I guess I was in control. He goes, the next time you think about your depression, I want you to think about the control you had tonight, and I want you to beat it. I want you to beat the shit out of it. Now let me tie you up. So he tied me. I let him tie me, but I definitely made sure he couldn't hit me. What he did do instead was he went down on me, told me he had never sucked dick before, and he goes, usually the women that I have have oral pleasure with, they have no hair, and you have a lot of hair. So I must shave you. And I'm fucking tied up. And I'm on the floor. Actually, it was like this. And I'm on the floor. And he goes and gets a fucking dry razor and a towel. And he proceeds to shave me. No, it's actually really fucking hot. Because as he shaves, he takes each stroke, just fucking wipes it on his chest like an animal. There was no penetration that night. We tried, but we failed miserably. But the orgasm was fucking insane. And now, that was July, went through an 11-month spell. Best sex of my life, 3 hours. Now, I will not have sex without being tied up.
I mean, that is Smut Slam in a nutshell. You get the hot sex story, you get the awesome self-help insights. All in a sweaty night in Morocco. Amazing. How to prepare for anal. Just, the hits keep on coming. Okay. How to prepare for anal. This is what you need to do. First of all, clean out. Learn how to use an enema bulb. Get up there and keep running water through until you are shitting clear. I know there are some burners in the house. You know that thing about piss clear? You can also shit clear. It might take... I give myself 8 washes, and if it's still not clear, I fine, that Indian food did not go far enough. So I wait for shit clear. I wait till there's no more flecks in the bowl, there's no more anything, shit clear, okay? You want to make sure you get in there with a shower, lots of soapy scrub and dub, get in there, really get in there. Some people just do that. After my terrifying start with butt sex, I prefer to use the bulb. Prepare for anal. You should not start with the large end of that sex toy. Start with rimming. Get relaxed. Use your finger around the outside. You don't have to go all the way on your first session, all right? So just keep it on the outside. Try one little finger. Trim your nails, please, or use gloves. And then go to 2 fingers. And if 2 fingers feels like it's going for it, if you're using a dick or a dildo, then you can get in there. Go slow. It's the journey, not the destination, okay? And be ready for a mess. Because sometimes shit happens. Sometimes legit shit happens and you can't, and then you have to have a cigarette and cry about it. So be ready for it. Make sure you're not doing it with some fuck boy who's gonna just run screaming away. Get it together, talk about it first, have the wet wipes on hand, and be ready with another condom in case the shit comes out on the first try. So there you go.
I'm gonna tell you about the first time I heard about masturbation. And the first time I masturbated. So I grew up in the south of England in the days before internet, in the 20th century. And went to school, and that was where I first heard the word masturbation. In the religious education class. Oh, shit. So we had religious education with Mr. Sindel, who normally spent the class talking about the ski trip, which he planned every year, which I could never go on, so that wasn't much good. But today, everybody was talking and laughing about masturbation and saying things that weren't quite enough information for me to actually understand what it was. But certainly enough for me to think, well, I've got to go and find out what this is. It sounds important. So I went to the library and I opened a dictionary. Oh, God. Now, if you look in a dictionary now in the 21st century and you look up masturbation, it tells you all about like stimulating your genitals, stimulating erogenous zones, maybe to reach orgasm. It's practically a manual about how to masturbate. In the 20th century, things were different. I opened the dictionary. The act of self-pleasure. What the fuck? How do you do that? I don't know. So around the same time, I started to have dirty thoughts at night. Erotic thoughts about people and places and things, and I would get very, very excited, but not excited enough for it to occur to me to actually touch myself, which was very, very weird. So anyway, this was all going on in my head. Wow, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I would reach a kind of climax, which would end up in a sneezing fit. So up in my bed, sneezing like crazy. Thinking, shit, what if my mum and dad hear me sneezing and know that I've been having dirty thoughts? Anyway, life went on. I had some lovers. That wasn't so great. It was all a bit complicated because actually my vagina was impenetrable, so I had to have surgery before I could have PIV sex. And I didn't really find a lover that knew how to satisfy me until I was about 22, and I got manual and everything. And finally, he went away to do an internship in another country. And finally, I masturbated. There had also been candles up the vagina and some mirrors, but I don't know, never kind of, that wasn't the self-pleasure I was looking for, no. Anyway, that's my story.
This is my favorite part of Fuck Buckets is I get to read them first, all right? But sometimes it's a burden. Okay. I had totally forgotten this, but my first exploration with anal self-exploration as a young boy didn't have the benefit of a sex toy, so I used what I could find. Namely, the antenna of a portable radio I found in a drawer. Fucking we do what we can, all right? When I first learned how to masturbate, I had to do it with a fucking carrot, all right? My family was poor, so I had to wash it and put it back. But I washed it really well. I only did that a couple times, and then I kind of grossed myself out, but okay. No judgment. No judgment. See, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm not putting as much vulnerability into this experience as you are. I'm bringing it too. Okay, nice. One day, while driving on the New Jersey Turnpike, I was feeling quite horny and safely touched myself without causing an accident and had a mind-blowing orgasm, ! Smiley face. I love how they lay the disclaimer down first. Really thick. Safely touched myself without causing an accident. Amazing.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about my first time being kidnapped. That was because I live in Berlin, and there's this Sex Positive Festival once a year. And some years ago, I went to the festival, and there are workshops 3 days, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. There are workshops. And they repeat some of them, but that year there was one workshop on Friday that was only once for the festival. That was an abduction workshop, like a kidnapping workshop. So I went to the workshop being like curious, like I didn't even know before I had this fantasy. And the workshop was packed. There were a lot of people. I went in and I talked to some people, and it seemed that everyone wanted to be abducted, because I was also like, I want to be abducted. And everyone else was like, yeah, me too. But then this guy was coming in, and we like caught each other's eyes, and I told him like, everyone wants to be abducted. Nobody wants to abduct. And he was like, no, I want to abduct. So then the workshop was going on. There was a lot of talk about consent, of course. And at the end of the workshop, the facilitator said, so now everyone should like team up with the people they want to abduct or get abducted. And then the guy, like during the workshop, he had already did like this with me, like, and he was with two friends, but they kind of had this very dangerous vibrations going on. So a lot of people wanted to be abducted by them. So I went there, and there were a lot of like people lining up. So I think I was like third or second on the list. So before me, they decided to abduct a couple because they thought that would be like more fun for them. So okay, then next day, Saturday, workshops were going on, and actually the whole topic of abduction, it kind of marked the festival, which was really nice because there were a lot of abductions going on. Because like you could be like outside having lunch, sitting on the ground, and then like 10 meters from you, like oh, another abduction. Okay. Or during lunch break, there were like people like with this mask going around, like looking for their prey. And even there was one workshop on Sunday, which was a mass wedding workshop, so people could like get married to themselves or other people or more people. And even one of the brides walking down to the aisle was abducted. So on Saturday, they abducted the couple, obviously. And so, yeah, I talked to, because the guy I had this connection with, we had like a very strong connection throughout the festivals. We talked in the evening and said, yeah, we abducted this couple, and we were emotionally exhausted afterwards. So, yeah, okay. So then the next day on Sunday, I went to workshops and stuff, and we didn't see each other the whole day. So no abduction happened. Then on Sunday, typically there's the final play party of the festival. So everyone gets really dressed up in a nice, kinky way, or elegant or whatever. And so I met him and one of his friends from the group of 3 at the final play party. And I thought, okay, this is not going to happen anymore. And both of them thought the same thing. They were like, oh, I didn't see you the whole day, and yesterday we were so emotionally exhausted, so I'm sorry this didn't happen. But yeah, let's go around, have a look. So I just kind of got with both of them, like with all nice kinky outfits, looking like walking around in the party. And then the third guy, like the other 2 guys they didn't know neither, like suddenly came from behind with a wet cloth, like taking me. Then the other one, they reacted really fast, like taking my legs. And everyone on the play party was like, whoa, this is still going on. So they took me to the elevator, shoved me into the elevator, and took me up to the second floor, where was this darker corner with not a lot of people. And then they took very good care of me. Actually, it was I really liked it. It was very playful, they kind of invented this story that they were like this group of people who wanted to sell me, but had to test the merchandise first.
Your life is awesome.
And actually, like a little side story was that one of them, his brother, he came for the final play party, although he had never been in a sex-positive environment. He just like came and came up with us. And I think it was one of the first things he saw at the party was like his brother abducting this woman. So yeah, it was like a really, really good experience. And as I said, I didn't know I had this fantasy before, but I highly recommend it. And and I have to say afterwards, when I'm telling this story to people, because I've also told it to some friends who are not sex positive, but I told them the story, and I have to say that everyone is kind of intrigued, even the non-sex positive people.
You accidentally illustrated one important part of smut storytelling. It's not even a rule. It's just like it's going to be your flag. As soon as you bring up family in any way, it gets awkward immediately, right? I want to put out a little cautionary tone for those of you who are like, ooh, kidnapping sounds fun. This was all happening in the context of a kink event, right? You do not want to do this out in public. Because there's no way, A, to get the consent of everyone around you to be in that scene, and B, someone rightly should be calling the police at that point. So I just want to let you know, just from a purely cautionary point of view, that sounds all hot, but it's going to get stupid immediately, okay? So, what's that? A lot of police. But you just don't want that to go wrong, you know? Because, maybe I'm coming at it from the U.S. point of view, but the police are carrying the guns. And they will shoot first and not even ask questions later. So I've never had a foot fetish until I met my boyfriend's wife. With a little heart. What gave you the strongest orgasm you've ever had? When my partner at the time had one. So we just bought like the Satisfier, you know, that kind with like the air impact over the clit. Oh, all right. So already I'm like, I never come from clit stimulation directly, but that's changed it for me. Okay. And that on top of him shoving his dick in my mouth at the same time. So I'm trying to come, but I can't say anything. I'm just screaming around his dick. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Okay. You really know a lot about me after the end of Smut Slams, I tell you what.
Did you have a good summer? That's good. I had a really good summer. I had my first gangbang. And I'm going to tell you all about it. We've already heard that Berlin has a lot to offer, and I was in the forest, obviously, as you would be, foraging in Berlin, looking for my friends. I was looking for a picnic. I was wearing this beautiful red dress, and I just couldn't find my friends anywhere. And I didn't have reception on my phone, so I was like, shit, you know, I'm literally lost in the forest. I can't get in touch with these people, and I'm walking around in this fucking forest thinking, shit, what am I going to do? And I see these two men who are just like hanging out, you know, they have like braces, they look like, is that what they're called, these things? Yeah. Yeah. And they're looking hot, a little aloof, they weren't really looking at me, and I was like, they're hot, but, you know, didn't think too much of it and just keep walking. And then I see like another two men, and I'm like, huh, interesting, there's a lot of men around, but there's no friends, no people around that I can find that I know. And one of the guys kind of was like, are you okay? And I'm like, you know, I'm lost. I can't find my picnic. I'm here in my red dress. It was very like Lana Del Rey. I had my red dress on tonight. And I was like, where am I supposed to go? And they're like, well, we think you're in the right place. Maybe you can join our little garden party. So I walked to this like beautiful setting. It did not look like four men had built it. It was like Alice in Wonderland, like garden party, beautiful. Just like, you know, that kind of had like, you know, those beautiful banners and tea sets. And I was like, they were just waiting for me basically. And we all sat down and I was like, well, this is, you know, interesting. And I had like a baguette. And I was just like with my baguette and I was kind of stroking the baguette. And I was thinking about baguettes. And I was thinking how many baguettes were around me and how it had always been like how there'd been like a big fantasy of having many baguettes inside me. And essentially I started kissing the guy on my left and we were all sitting outside and I just kind of started off and it was very sensual and we started basically all all fucking. And everyone was taking their clothes off. My red dress came off. I had like my Lana Del Rey moment finally. And I was just very, very happy, like naked in a forest. And it's always been, you know, a big fantasy of mine to like be full in all the places. So I was in every hole. And there was a moment that I was just like, I had to stop and like I literally told them like, I just need to look around because it was just like cocks everywhere, like cocks in me. And I was like, you know, I know. I was very proud. I don't know if anyone's done double penetration, but it's like, it makes me very proud when I can do it. And I had like a cock in the ass and the pussy and the mouth and my hand and the other hand. I was just like, fucking hell, this is like a dream, to be honest. It's important for women to say that because I think it's like a taboo to want so many cocks. But at the same time, and actually a lot of women maybe have fantasized about it, and I've been lucky enough to experience it. And so this went on, double penetration, lots of cum, and yeah, it was a really explicit gangbang, and I had a really, really, really good time. And I was like lying down, and there was like there were like 3 guys around me, and they were like looking down, and the other one was having sex with me, and I actually felt like I had a spiritual moment. And I tell my, because it was so beautiful. These men were wonderful. It was very, you know, they were good people to do this with. It was like the perfect group for this group sex. And I literally feel like I transcended. I was just so into it. It went on for ages. And then it finished. And there is like a twist to this story because everything happened. And that was my fantasy, but it was actually a porn film because I'm a porn star. But the cool thing is I'm very privileged to be able to work with companies I really like to. So it's like a feminist gangbang company who literally like, they tailor-made my gangbang. I was like, I want to wear the red dress like Lana Del Rey. I want to like have this like garden party. It was actually my idea, and they like co-created it with the art direction. So they literally created a gangbang of my choice. I got to choose the performers. This is very Berlin. So I was like feminist tailor-made gangbang. I mean, it's a fucking heaven, I have to say. And so I got to like do my fantasy in probably the safest way with a lot of cameras pointing on these people with dicks because it can be dangerous. Like I don't think it's. I wouldn't advise just doing gangbang with anyone. I think you should really think about who you're doing it with. So I'm not just saying go out there and have your gangbang, but I was super lucky I could do it like with a lot of consent. We had a checklist before. We talked about where we wanted to be touched, not touched, holes not filled, etc. It was a bit bisexual, which is also fun. For me, there wasn't like that boundary. So yeah, it was insane. It's coming out next year. If you want to look for it, it's called Hard Work, like hard, like work, like W-E-R-K, because gangbang's a fucking hard work. I spent like a week. I felt like I like literally ran a marathon. Like I was dead. I had to do a lot of self-care afterwards and have a lot of like amazing chill time because it was so intense. It's a lot of body work. So I'm very proud of myself for my gangbang, and that's it.
I have to say I was ready with a lot of follow-up questions for that one. And then you explained the twist. I'm like, oh. Not randos in the Brandenburg fucking forest. That's not the way to bliss, no. Good heavens. Woo! What is something a lover called you that at first horrified you, but then you thought was super hot? I would say in that category, there was someone in my life who routinely referred to me as baked goods, like various baked goods, right? Just rolling through the pastry case, basically, you know, like, and it horrified me, like, in a cutesy sort of cringe way, you know, like love muffin and like, you know, sticky bun. And then he got stuck on sticky bun and I'm like, you know, just like all the baked goods. And frankly, then after a while, every time I used it, I was like, okay, that's okay. Okay, that's kind of cute. And then it turned out that he was kind of into like the vor concept. And so he wanted to eat the sticky bun and eat the fucking, you know, cinnamon, whatever. And so it was like, oh, that makes sense. And that's hot. Okay, so that's what that is.
Hi, y'all. This is my first time talking in public in English. You can listen it by my accent. But I will try to do my best, forgive my grammar and my way to speak. And this is my story. I don't know. I am quite indecisive because I'm bisexual, polyamorous, and I have ADHD. So I'll try to focus the best that I can. Maybe I can talk about how my husband jumped naked in a way full of condoms that my boyfriend's wife put in the floor. No, I think this is a very complicated story. Let's back in time. I think 11 years ago. Why not? Because I get so inspired. And I want to tell you about being young and drunk. I think everyone was young. Yes, there's not many young people here. And I'm going to talk about first times. Okay, I'm a comic book artist. I do comic books, dirty comic books. And and because of that, I travel to a lot of Comic Cons here in Spain. And this isn't anything fancy at all. I mean, I go to my friend's couch and I try to sleep there because I have no money. And I had even no money then. And well, I just arrived with my bags full of comic books and my smile on my face. And just when I arrived to my friend's home, I found him. A really handsome, skinny, lovely guy looking at me. And he was like, I don't know who you are, but nice to meet you. And you know, I always been a big girl. And of course, my self-esteem is kind of so-so. So when I saw him, the first thought that I had was, okay, this is the kind of situation that I really like him, but he doesn't care about me at fucking all. Get ready. And well, we go to the convention, we sell some comic books, fanzines, etc. And then at the night, we went to a party with my friends, my comic book friends, and this incredible guy that was sharing the flat with my friend. So we start to do that kind of game here. It's called Yo Nunca He. It's never have ever. I don't know. Yeah, okay, so we started to drinking, and we started to drink one beer and say things, and you know what? Now I know that that lovely guy thought that I was never done anything. Poor boy. When we were drinking and we start to say things, I say like, I never ever have a threesome. And I started drinking, looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? Oversharing, ADHD. So he looked at me like with the most big eyes that I ever seen. And he was really interested, like, I did not, but can you tell me about this? And it was like, it was not in a weird way. It was an interesting way that we were fine. You know, when you know your other perverts in the room, like, okay, we're doing a match here. So we start to tell things, and when we went out to the bar, we drink like 1,000 beers, and I was like, you're really handsome. and I was like ready to hug him, but he came and kissed me in the best way possible. So we go to his apartment. Maybe we were not, we didn't go by walking. Maybe I did surf. I was so wet. But the thing is, so we start to making out in every corner, and we finally, 45 minutes later, we arrived to his apartment, and we start to making out, I don't know why, in the kitchen. When my other friend, the comic book friend that led me his couch, go into the kitchen and throw a plate, and it crashed to the floor, and it was like, maybe it's time to go to your room. So no couch for me that night. And we start to touch each other, we try to put their hands on each other, and then I realized, young and drunk, that I had a lot of hair in my legs and in my pussy and everything, and it was like, I have to go to pee, and I ran to the bathroom. I tried to take anything from my friend, so I take a Gillette. Like, and it was like, I have to, and I start to cut myself. It was a fucking mess. So I came back like, okay, it's dark. So we start fucking so really nice. Looking at his cat, because it was a cat in the flat, and he was looking like, are you judging me? Wherever we started, and he was saying, why you went so late in the bathroom? It was like, well, I didn't take my hair, but okay, let's fuck. So we kept fucking. We had like a really fun time. We just understood each other. I mean, sex is like dancing, and we dance really well. So when we finally finished, and we had like an incredible orgasm, everyone at each time, because okay, we just finished in different times because life happens, and he just went to puking because we were so drunk and we were so young. And then when he finished, I went too. But the good story is that 11 years later, he's my husband. So that guy saw me puking, saw me drunk. And now I don't drink if I don't want. And I prefer an orgasm without puking later. So thank you, guys.
I mean, this is what I mean about the diversity of what happens at a smut slam, because how often do you hear about the puking as a necessary stage in courtship, apparently? Good heavens. Good heavens. What was your cartoon crush when you were a child or teenager? Oh, what's her name? Velma. The nerd girl in Scooby-Doo. Cute. She was like a little rounder going on there, and she had the orange and purple. It was the orange and purple palette. Yeah, orange really works for me. Anyway, I don't know. I can't say it was an active, like, hardcore crush, but I know when I would look at pictures of that thing, like, my eye would go to her. 'Cause ass. All right?
So I would like to talk to you about the first time I got kicked in the balls 120 times.
Wow.
Consensually. Consensually, of course. But for that, we need context. We're going to have to go back to when I moved to Kuwait. I'm Catalan, but my family moved to Kuwait when I was 10. However, Kuwait is quite a patriarchal country. It's very Muslim and very, let's say, well, I mean, it condemns anything that is sexual or sensual in any way. They censor women's, even they censor their arms and everything in magazines. And let's say that they censor websites as well. But we used to have a website that updated your IP address called Hide My Ass. Yeah. And we used to search for porn. However, I got tired of like mainstream porn and found femdom. So female domination and everything. And I found this very interesting because being in a patriarchal country and very Muslim, this femdom kind of like took everything into, it turned the pancake completely. So then I found my fetish, which was ball busting. And I tried, I was 15 at the time, I tried tying my balls, dragging 5-liter bottles with them. So yeah, like basically my balls got used to it. They're quite elastic. So with it, like, I grew up and I tried many different things concerning CBT, which is cock and ball torture, if you guys know. So yeah, basically I started tying them, but I couldn't find a partner to practice on me. And that time I was also traveling. I've lived in Norway, I've lived in Denmark, in Paris, but I couldn't find a stable partner to try this with. when I moved back here, back home, I started discovering the kink community and discovering, dungeons. And during the pandemic, I started going to events in dungeons. And there, I met one of the owners of a dungeon there. And she's so sweet. She is very sweet talking, and she's very cute. However, she's quite a sadist. So we started getting to know each other, and then one day she invited me to her birthday party, and she told me that I was supposed to be a human piñata. So I go there. There's like a lot of guests. Everything. The party's going well. There's a big table with macarons, like the little sweets. And being the glutton that I am, I ate 4 of them. The owner of the club told me, for each macaron that you ate, that means 32 kicks to the balls. She tied me to the St. Andrew's cross, and we had everything talked out already. Like we used the traffic light indicator, as well as the numbers, like from 1 to 10. Like 1 is not painful at all, and 10 is quite painful. And she started slow, and then started going up from there. So yeah, got to 120 kicks, and then I really wanted to pee. I really wanted to pee, but it was the end of the night, and people started basically going. And at one point, she held one of my testicles while she was saying goodbye to the other guests. She had me like tied down here, and then she was like, bye, so sweet and everything, while I was like in absolute pain. The next day I had to go back home. I had an hour train ride. It was tough. Yeah, I was walking like a duck, basically. And that's it.
What shoes was she wearing? What shoes was she wearing? Birkenstock's gonna land differently than a cowboy boot. Heels. Open toe? Open toe. Oh, I guess. I don't know. I was just making conversation. Amazing. The other thing that's funny, right, is like CBT, of course, is cognitive behavioral therapy as well. So when you have like those communities around you, and then you're like, I'm not really sure what context this is, CBT, can I ask them to clarify? No. My son overheard me having sex with a partner. He said, I heard a clapping, slapping noise and wanted to think you were celebrating the football win, but I don't think it was that. The most exciting hand job I ever got ended when my partner accidentally aimed my dick up at me as I came. Miraculously, I came in my own eye. I never laughed so hard, smiley face. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening. That is not so long ago there in Barcelona. We've had 2 more since then. They've been selling out every time. So it's just a great hot crowd there in Barcelona, and they really bring a lot of great energy to their space, which is true for pretty much any Smut Slam, actually. Our audience members always step up. For Barcelona, I want to thank specifically my co-producers there who took a big chance, and they were like, sure, we'll try that out. We have Shauna Blackman and Miles Lizak, who brought me in, coordinated the judges, got the volunteers, and made things happen for me at Teatro Metamorphosis. Again, that's in Barcelona. Our liaison there at the theater is Sarah, who's been really supportive and lovely about our slams in Barcelona. The next one for that city is coming up on May 30th, in case you're listening from Spain. All right. I want to encourage you, if you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode of Your Life is Awesome, that you join our Patreon for early and extended episodes. You can get some backstage kind of behind the scenes looks. We're going to be adding more content there over time. But right now, you're just getting fuller episodes of truly amazing shows, truly amazing fuck buckets. Again, that's at patreon.com/yourlifeisawesome. A quick rundown of what's happening for our network, which is fucking exploding with life. You can always get that at smutslam.com, but let me just quickly read you what's coming up literally in the next month or so. On April 24th, I'm going to be in Warsaw, my first time in Poland. On April 28th, Busty Latish is hosting in Amsterdam. I am in Vilnius on April 30th. On May 1st, we've got a Winnipeg show with host Didi Brazier. Riga is happening on May 2nd. Tartu is happening on May 3rd. Tallinn is happening on May 6th. Those are all my shows here in Eastern Europe. Boston is going on first Tuesday of the month, as always, May 7th, with host Victor Victrola. On May 7th and 8th is the Helsinki Slam. We're doing it over 2 shows because our venue there is very cozy. So we're making more opportunities for our Finnish folks to get their smut. On May 14th, I'll be in Copenhagen. On May 20th, Berlin Slam is happening, and I'm going to be in town this time for that. That's cool. May 30th, then, like I said, I'm back in Barcelona. Folks, that is a really long list. You want to check that out. If you don't hear anything on there like close to you, keep on listening to this podcast and share it with your friends. If you think that Smut Slam should come to your city, definitely drop us a line and let us know. Our email address is right there in the podcast description. We love to hear from our listeners. So, and especially if you want to encourage us to come to a new location where we can do another show of first. It's amazing. Now, if you want to see other shows by me, well, you're going to have to wait a little bit. I'm still shopping around a couple of my own personal shows. I was just at a comedy and storytelling festival in Luxembourg, Festrogen. That was super exciting. But you can follow me also on, you can find me on Patreon. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Cameron Moore, that's RYN, Cameron Moore. Look me up. That is everything that's hot to trot here for the next month, certainly. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you the next time. Wherever you are, whatever you do, just remember, your life is awesome.
This has been Your Life is Awesome, a story podcast from Smutslam with Cameron Moore. Produced by me, Mark Seistedt. Music by Sticky Biscuits. A huge thank you to all storytellers featured. All stories are being shared with permission. Thanks also to Enjoy Toys, makers of deluxe stainless steel instruments of pleasure, for continually supporting Smutslam. Find them at enjoytoys.com. If you want to help us make more of these, plus get access to longer episodes and other bonus material, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/yourlifeisawesome. If that's not in the cards right now, you can also help by rating and reviewing this show. Look for that option in your podcast app. We might read out some reviews on a future episode. Got a question for Cameron? Write or send a voice recording to smutslampodcast@gmail.com. This too might be featured on the podcast. And if you want to find out more about Smutslam and the code of conduct we use in the shows, go to smutslam.com. All links mentioned can be found in the podcast info. Thanks for listening.